It's 11:47 on a Tuesday night, and you're lying in bed scrolling your banking app for no real reason. Just checking. The way you press on a bruise to see if it still hurts. You do the math without meaning to. 46 hours this week, double shift on Thursday, and you compare it against the number actually sitting in your account, and something in you goes flat. Not panic, not anger, just a quiet, hollow noticing. Because somewhere along the way, without ever deciding it, you started suspecting your effort and your money had stopped speaking the same language. You're working the same hours, sometimes harder ones, and the number on the screen doesn't seem to know the difference anymore. My name is Millie, and I've spent an honestly embarrassing number of nights doing exactly what you're doing right now, staring at a balance, trying to figure out if I was actually moving forward or just working very hard to stay exactly where I was. I read about compounding the way most people read about diets they've never tried, nodding along, half believing it, filing it under things that probably work for other people. I knew the theory. I just couldn't feel it in my own numbers. And for a long stretch, I genuinely wondered if let your money work for you was real, or just something people say after they've already arrived, looking back and calling the whole climb easier than it was. What I eventually figured out is that there's an exact moment, quiet, almost embarrassingly unannounced, when that stops being true. A specific point where the math itself flips. But almost nobody tells you where that moment lives, what it looks like up close, or how many people quit the week before they would have reached it. Here's the part nobody explains properly. In the beginning, almost all the weight is yours. Every dollar that shows up in that account got there because you put it there, not because your money did anything clever on its own. Think of it like hiring someone brand new for a job they've never done. You sit them down, train them, correct their mistakes, carry the workload yourself while they shadow you. Slow, green, mostly in the way. That's what compounding looks like in its first few years. Not lazy, just young. It hasn't built anything to draw from yet. This is the part of the story people leave out, because it isn't exciting to talk about. It's packing snow with your bare hands at the top of a hill that isn't moving. You shape something small, watch it sit there, unimpressive, and you check your account and think, I did that. I earned every dollar of that. And you're right. Early on, your labor is the engine. Your money is just riding along in the back seat, barely pulling its own weight. This is exactly why so many people quit. Not because they're lazy, not because they're undisciplined, but because the timeline fails most people, long before the math ever gets a fair chance. They're carrying the entire load, month after month, and it feels like it will always be this way. Like the hill will never move on its own. What they don't know yet is that there's an exact moment coming, a quiet crossover point where the new hire stops shadowing you and starts outworking you. They just have to stay long enough to see it happen. Let's actually look at this, because hearing that money compounds never changes anyone's behavior. Seeing the exact moment it happens does. Let's call her Millie. She starts putting $400 a month into a simple index fund at 26, averaging around 10% a year. Nothing exotic, just consistency repeated. Year one, Millie personally put in $4,800. Her account sits near $5,050. The market handed her $250 on top of her own work. She looks at that and thinks, fine, I basically did this myself. And she's right. The new hire is still shadowing her, watching, contributing, almost nothing of its own. By year 5, she's contributed $24,000 of her own money. Her account is worth about $31,000. The market has added roughly $7,000 beyond what she put in. Better, but she's still packing the snow with her own hands, while the hill underneath barely shifts. Year 10 arrives, and Millie's put in $48,000 total. Her account sits near $76,000. That means $28,000 came from somewhere she didn't personally earn it. Something is shifting now. The snowball finally has weight behind it. So when exactly did the money take over? Watch closely. By year 15, Millie's personal contributions total $72,000. Her account is worth roughly $165,000. Her money generated almost $93,000 on its own, more than she contributed across that entire stretch. Somewhere in this window, quietly, without a single notification, her money started working harder than she does. The base effect had kicked in. 10% of a bigger pile simply outweighs 10% of a small one, and her pile had finally grown large enough to matter. By year 25, Millie's contributed $120,000 across her entire working life. Her account is worth nearly $480,000. That means $360,000, 3 times what she personally saved, came purely from compounded gains. Her money didn't just catch up to her effort. It lapped it, then kept going. That's the inflection point. Not a dramatic morning, not a notification, just a quiet realization, looking back, that somewhere around year 12 or 13, the machine had already turned on, and she simply hadn't noticed yet. I want to describe what this actually feels like, because it's almost never what people expect. Most people imagine that when their money finally starts working harder than they do, there'll be a signal, a bell, a milestone morning where they wake up and just know. But that's not how it works. And that's exactly why so many people walk right past the moment without seeing it. It looks more like this. You'll have a month where things are tight. You skip a contribution. Maybe a car repair eats the difference, and you brace yourself to watch your balance drop. Except it doesn't. It climbs anyway. By a few $100s you didn't put there yourself. You'll check it twice, almost suspicious, like you're hunting for an error in the math. Or you'll reach the end of a year and tally things up out of curiosity and notice your account grew by $12,000 while you only contributed $8,000. Let that sit for a second. The new hire you trained, the one shadowing you for years, unimpressive and slow, just outworked you. Quietly, without asking permission, without fanfare. There's no fireworks, no notification that reads, "Congratulations, the machine is turned on." It's just a quiet realization, usually arriving weeks after the fact, that the hill has taken over, and you're no longer the one pushing the snowball uphill. You're just walking beside it now, watching it grow on its own, slightly amazed, slightly late to notice. Here's the part nobody talks about enough, and it might matter more than all the numbers we just walked through. How do you actually survive the boring years? Because this is where it really falls apart for most people. Not in understanding the math. Almost everyone understands the math by now. It falls apart in the slow, repetitive, unglamorous act of continuing to show up when you feel absolutely nothing happening. The honest answer is that you have to change what you're measuring. If your balance is $9,000 and the life you actually want needs $500,000, measuring your progress in dollars will quietly crush you every single time. The gap is too wide. The growth is too slow to feel. You will start believing you're failing even while you're doing everything right. So measure something else. measure your consistency. Measure the number of months you didn't skip. Measure the fact that your money is sitting in the market, working, even on the days you can't feel it working at all. You're not measuring the snowball. You're measuring the packing. And every month you pack is a month closer to the moment the hill takes over and starts doing the work for you. And here I have to be direct with you. The scariest thing in the boring years isn't a market downturn. Downturns, long-term, are mostly noise. What's actually dangerous is what a downturn makes you want to do. If you panic and pull out, you don't just pause the machine, you break it. You lock in the loss and miss the recovery that was already on its way to you. Trust the process, even when the process looks like nothing at all happening, especially then, because that's exactly when it's quietly working hardest.
Now, I want to zoom out for a second, because I think this idea reaches further than money. And honestly, that's the part I find more interesting. This same crossover shows up almost everywhere effort quietly accumulates. Skills compound, reputation compounds, relationships compound, even health compounds. The foundation years look the same no matter what you're building. Slow, invisible, easy to mistake for nothing happening at all. Think about a woman who writes consistently for 2 years. Most days, almost nobody is watching. But somewhere in there, her craft starts working harder than her effort does. One piece reaches more people than the last 50 combined. Not because that piece was special, but because the compounded skill, the compounded trust, the compounded audience finally caught up and started carrying weight on its own. Or think about a woman who shows up to the gym 4 times a week for 2 years, not chasing a transformation, just repeating the habit. The first 6 months feel like nothing. Then, one day, a weight that used to wreck her moves easily, and she realizes her body has been quietly compounding strength the entire time she assumed nothing was happening. Or think about a friendship you've shown up for, year after year, with no payoff you could ever point to. Then one hard season arrives, and that person is simply there, in a way newer relationships never could be. That's not luck. That's compounded trust finally doing the work you'd stopped noticing you were doing. The boring years were never wasted. They were foundation years, the unglamorous stretch where you're packing the snow and the hill hasn't taken over yet. Whatever you're building, money, skill, strength, relationships, the same quiet rule applies everywhere. Show up long enough, and eventually what you've built starts showing up for you. Let's land this, because I don't want this to be a video you watch, nod along to, and forget by tomorrow. If you're early in this, still in the packing the snow years, still doing all the lifting yourself, here's what to take from this. Stop measuring the balance. Measure the consistency. Automate the contribution. Protect the habit. And let the boring years pass without sabotaging them. You're not behind. You're laying the foundation everything else will eventually stand on. If you're starting to see the shift, 10, 12, maybe 15 years in, and you've noticed your account moving in ways you didn't directly cause, pay attention to that. Mark it. That quiet realization, the month your money grew more than you contributed, that's the exact moment the machine turned on. Don't get in its way now. Don't tinker. Don't second guess the very thing that's finally starting to carry you. And if you're starting later, in your 40s or 50s, feeling that familiar tightness in your chest right now, I want to say this directly. It's not too late. The runway is shorter. The contributions need to be bigger, but the crossover still comes. Starting late beats not starting. Every single time, with no exception. ever. Go back to that night, lying in the dark, doing math you didn't want to do. That feeling doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're still in the packing phase, and the hill hasn't taken over yet. It will. Trust the process. Stay long enough and watch your money finally start working harder than you ever could.